Lights, camera, action. I forgot my own things. Lights, camera, action. Let's start the show. Here's a little advice from me to help your story unfold. Oh my goodness, you guys, we are in season 2 of your wedding series. This is going to be episode 1. But what is this series all about? This is dating for marriage the right way. And that means it's going to be a lot different than how people have been dating as of late, okay? The way the world is telling you to date. It's going to be a lot different than that. So, we are planning your wedding as well as preparing for marriage before he proposes. Now, we started with age 14-year-old you, but we have already fast forwarded to the age in which you are engaged. So if you didn't get to see those episodes starting at age 14 or you and how we prepared and planned for marriage and wedding prior to the proposal, okay? Prior to the proposal, most people start their wedding series, I'm engaged. And then they're like trying to figure out like what do we do now? And so we started planning the wedding way before that. There's 22 episodes in season 1 that's going to help you to catch up to where we are right now. Right now, today, okay? So, welcome back everyone to this series and we're talking about episode 1 of season 2. Now, I know you saw the title. We are definitely talking about money today. We're having that money talk with our parents and talking about the wedding budget. Now, if you've been watching the wedding series, you know that this is also going to look a lot different than most people that are freaking out when they get to this point right here. Let me grab my notes. Give me just a moment, you guys. Just a moment. Having some interesting technical difficulties today. All right, so I'll check on that in just a little bit, but welcome back. All right, so we are talking about a little bit of a rewind. We're going to do a little bit of a rewind today about, and it's going to be fast forwarded. So if you need more details in kind of like the bullet points that I'm going to give here, go back and watch the episodes in season 1. A lot of them will have some of these titles in them, but episode 1, you guys, season 1 is amazing. It's amazing. So don't feel like you're wasting your time by going back and looking at those. Now listen, if you are not able to plan your wedding and marriage starting at age 14 years old, that's just not possible. The tips and advice that I was giving you, that's okay. You can catch up to what you can do in lieu of those things, because most people, majority, the percentage is very low of the people who are going to be able to date for marriage the right way or who dated for marriage the right way. I dare you to go out and survey people and talk about their dating process and see if they're honest with you. See if they would even be like honest and real and candid with you about what it was like to date for marriage. All right, I got to check something before we get started in all of this today, because this technical difficulty is not a good one. It's not a good one. I can't believe we're having this issue, but we are. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, you guys. What's happening? What is happening? Okay. I'm not sure. But I'm going to try to figure it out before we keep going, because this is an important episode. Anyone who's watching this right now and you're like, I don't want to sit here through all the technical difficulties, don't worry. I put all of the episodes in a podcast playlist. This one will be titled Your Wedding Series Season 2, Episode 1. So make sure that you go back and look at the podcast. And I go back and all of this is like cleaned up. So don't stress about it, okay? Don't worry about it if you don't want to like watch all of this. All right. So it looks like the technical difficulty that we're having cannot be fixed. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I can't fix this. I cannot fix it. Okay. All right. I can't fix it. So we're just going to go back in and get started with this. All right. So let's start with a little bit of a rewind of how we got here in our wedding planning journey. So how did we get to this point where we're now sitting down with our parents? We're having the wedding budget talk. Remember when you were age 14 through high school, college, and then dating for marriage, and we talked all about how you were planning for this time in your life financially. You weren't going to get to this time and be like, where's the money coming from? Okay. You had a backup plan if your parents were like, you know what, we're not paying. But let's talk about the traditional approach. Okay, we are going to talk about it because I know that a lot of like planners and event planners and counselors and things like that, gurus, they're going to skip this. They're going to skip this and they're going to be like, well, traditionally, yes, the parents pay, but we don't need to talk about that because what parents are paying for weddings, this in this day and age. Listen, I'm helping you to prepare for those who are trying to date for marriage the right way. So, like I said, it is going to be a little bit different. So let's rewind about the things that we did plan for starting at age 14-year-old you. We talked about how you were going to be starting to think about your future, okay? Starting to think about your future. What did you want? What was your vision for your wedding? What was your vision for your marriage? Also, you're getting parental guidance. So your parents were instilling you some of those skills and mindsets of being a husband or being a wife. Okay. So if you need a refresher, please go back and look at those because it's a lot and we don't have time to dive into all of that again. But because you were getting those skills and those mindsets and learning how to deal with finances, you're not getting to this point and wondering, what are we going to do? Okay. Also, parents, pay attention right now, please. As a parent, you were looking at your finances as well as starting at the age of 14. You could be doing it sooner, but definitely starting at the age that your child is turning 14 years old. You're not just sitting back and waiting for them to hurry up and get out of the house. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of parents are doing, but that's not what you are doing. So you're taking the time to look at your finances, during that time, so that by the time we fast forward to the time that your child finishes high school or finishes college and they're saying, hey, we want to get married, can you help us? You're not freaking out, okay? You're not just literally losing your mind and like yelling at the top of your lungs, just go to the courthouse, okay? So basically, this series is about planning. It's about planning ahead for the future. Guys, we got it. We got to we got to take a pause and we need to get things right. We need to do things better because we've been sold lies, okay? We've been sold a bunch of lies and we've been doing things all out of order, all out of the way that it was supposed to have been done. And now we're getting to the points in our life where we're like, how are we even going to pay for any of this? How are we going to do any of this? And it's because we haven't sat down and looked at what the root of the issue is that you were sold a lie and that we need to go back and we need to now like try to correct this huge mistake so that it doesn't continue on for the next generations. If you're 14 years old right now watching this, keep watching and go grab your parents. Go grab your parents so they can watch it with you, okay? So, as a parent, you were starting to plan, okay? You were instilling knowledge, wisdom, as well as getting your finances in order, okay? And that's on both sides. That's for the bride and the groom, okay? That's for both sets of parents. Because let me tell you, not always does the bride, the parents of the bride, have the money, no matter how hard they work. Maybe one of them is a widow. Maybe something happened to where the other parents just like, you know what, they walked out of, you know, their life, and so they don't have the other parent there to help financially, and it's going to take more than one person in this day and age. Usually, you know, there's a different percentage of people that could probably one person take care of this, but that percentage is very, very low. Okay, it's not very high. So these are real conversations that we're having. I know that you probably have listened to other planners, you know, they don't even touch on any of this. They don't even go here with any of this, you guys. But I'm trying to help the next generations, basically. I'm trying to help all of us to do better that are already feeling stuck right now on what to do. Maybe you're already married and maybe you like didn't do this like this way. Well, guess what? You're probably going to have kids. And so then you can start doing this. The tips and advice that I'm giving you, you can run with it and go and make things better for you and your future children. Okay. 14 years old, that child turns 14. Guess what? You start putting money aside specifically for their future, for a wedding, to help them with a house, things like that. You know, it takes a village, you guys, and we've heard it forever and ever and ever. But for some reason, over the last 100 years, everyone's like, I can do it myself. I don't need this village. I don't need this village. I'm going to drive this car to this, you know, another city and state. I don't need this horse and buggy anymore. I don't need to walk to my family's house anymore. And I can just do it by myself. No, 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 no. We need a family. We need family around us, and we need to pull our finances together. What's your money is my money. Everyone's got this mentality of separation and division, and that's the problem. That's what's the issue here. Okay. So this money talk shouldn't be by surprise. And let's talk about why. Okay. So we talked about how from the beginning, 14-year-old you, through your college years, through your dating for marriage years, that you and your parents were preparing, right? Now, let's also talk about the next step that we did in our planning. So, say you didn't have parents, say you just didn't have grandparents, okay? You didn't have parents, you didn't have grandparents. Let's just say, who else could you lean on? Hopefully, you were involved in a good church, okay? A good church that became like your church family, some organization in your life that's strong, and you had mentor couples in that organization, okay? That amazing family group that became more of your family because you didn't have parents, you didn't have grandparents, okay? Or maybe you were really, really blessed and you had both. You had parents, grandparents, also you had a church family, okay? Oh my goodness, even better for you, because now you've got a slew of people that you can lean on during this time of your life, okay? So, and guys, listen, I don't mean to fuss. I don't mean to fuss. I don't want to argue, none of that, okay? But just understand that this is a very, very serious topic. This is very serious. Too many people have the same exact sad little story that they get to the budget, which is the first thing that you have to do when you start planning anything. That's planning anything, not just a wedding. It's planning an event. It's planning a party. It's planning to go travel somewhere. What's the budget? How much are we spending? Where's the money coming from? Normal questions, guys. Normal questions. Okay. So don't think that this is something like foreign or weird that we are tackling when it comes to a wedding. Okay. So, so you have those people, and along the way, they have been your mentorship. They've been your counselor. They've been instilling, like I said, knowledge, wisdom, and find good financial choices in your life. Okay, and things about being an adult. Men, you were learning how to do a lot of the maintenance work around the house and the cars. Ladies, you could also be learning those things. You could have been learning those things. Everybody was learning how to cook, meal prep, and clean. Men, you also need to be learning how to clean. Too many times I see adult men who have no idea how to clean, how to even fold laundry. And like, that is terrible. All right, let's see if we can get, let's take a breather and see if we can get our technical difficulties figured out before we keep going here. Taking a little pause, you guys, taking another little pause because we're trying to get this technical difficulty figured out, but it doesn't look like it's working itself out today. I have no idea why. I have no idea. Okay, so let's keep going here. Now, the next thing that you want to be thinking about is reflect a little bit. What are all the other times that you've already brought up this wedding budget to your parents? This is talking about both sides, okay? What is the other times that you've brought up the wedding budget to your parents? This should not be the first time that you just got engaged and now this is the first time that you're having the wedding budget talk. We've talked about and prepared and planned ourselves in the way we've been planning this specific wedding and your wedding series for you, okay? And let's go down memory lane. Let's go down memory lane of all the times that you've mentioned the budget talk with your parents. All right, so especially for the brides to be, age 14-year-old you, all the way through age 18, all your high school years for most people, you were bringing up this. You were talking about this. Your parents were bringing it up as well. Your dad and your mom were already putting aside that money, okay? So that was the first time. That was the first stage, if you will, of, because it's not just the one time thing, it's the stage, right? So it was a journey through, okay, every month we're putting away this money every month. And then when the bride turned 16 or 15 in some states, she started working. But even at 14, she was probably getting an allowance. So you were saving some money for your wedding and for your future marriage. Okay. So you're saving that money. And that way you've got some finances as well. Also, college years. And if you're going to go to college, or if you're taking classes online, some kind of technical classes online, whatever it might be for your higher education, you were also saving money, okay? You were working, you were saving money, you were learning responsibility. Remember, this is a memory lane thing, and then we're going to jump on ahead. So keep fast forwarding. What did we talk about? Not moving out. That was a big one. That's a huge one, was that you were not moving out of the house. Your parents are still saving up money during this time, putting it in that wedding fund, putting it in that, marriage fund for them, helping them, knowing for the gentleman, sir, father, you were going to help your son to build a house or to buy a house, something like that. You were helping him since 14 years old to figure this whole thing out. Okay. It's not just all parents of the bride are the only one with all this financial burden. No, parents of the groom were supposed to be helping with the house. Okay. So, and gentlemen, groom to be, you're also working towards putting money for the wedding fund as well as for the house fund. Okay. So that's why like I said, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. So this is part of the memory, going down memory lane. Now, the next thing was once you started dating for marriage, you were dating for marriage in groups. You weren't trying to spend all this money on all these expensive dates and all this stuff. You were going on group dates in group settings, either with your parents, either with your mentors and counselors, either with like a group of friends that you trust who are on the same path as you. You're not going to be hanging out with friends that are all getting it on and living worldly and things like that. No, you're hanging out with people who are like-minded like you. If you're a Christian, hopefully so are they, but there are Christians that are like-minded, not just the ones out here wilding out. And so hopefully you were dating for marriage in this way, in this type of setting that was helping to set you up for the success of the wedding budget talk. Okay, so next, what was the next part of our memory lane? Oh, this is a big one. This is huge. Fast forwarding, when the groom got ready to ask for the bride-to-be's hand in marriage, remember he had to talk to the parents of his side and the parents of her side. I mean, he didn't have to, but we talked about how that was a step that he should not miss, right? And it was also an opportunity to talk about budget. Hopefully you took that advice and you actually talked about the budget, okay? Like I said, so that it wasn't some foreign thing that you guys did not want to have to pay for this wedding all by yourselves. It's crazy how everybody wants to invite everybody, but yet nobody wants to help pay for this wedding. Takes a village. Takes a village. All right. So, and then they get mad when people elope. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. All right. So, remember that now that we fast forwarded to after he proposes, and now we are sitting down after the engagement party has happened, and we're talking about the wedding budget now, the very official talk, because also along the way, since 14-year-old you, all the way through dating for marriage and the proposal, the start of the engagement, what happened? I know that you're basking in this era, okay? It's an amazing era to be in, but we've got to get our head straight and into the game. We got to focus on what's at stake here, okay? A beautiful wedding, a beautiful marriage, okay? And we're going to talk more about the vision for the wedding later because everyone's got different visions for the wedding, and that's okay. But it's all about what you want and desire, okay? So, because this is the official talk, you've already, as a couple, had that talk as well about, okay, how much do we want to spend? You've already taken some time out to research wedding venues, flowers. Do you want them? Like we talked before, they are one of the most expensive things you're going to spend money on the wedding day, and they're going to die. So, like, figure out, do you want those flowers? How badly do you want them? Also, be talking about some other expenses like the wedding rings, the dress, the tuxedo. Like, there's more than just the wedding venue, okay? The wedding venue people want you to think that it's just about them because that's why they're trying to charge you all this buku money, all right? But there's a lot more expenses than just that building or just that, beautiful landscape outside. There's a lot more to pay for, okay? So hopefully you have your budget binder with you. You were looking at different visions and researching different prices. You were calling people to get some pricing. We talked about all of that in season 1. So if you need some help on how to do that, please go back and look at season 1. Okay. So what is the number one question that we have in this episode? Who traditionally pays for the wedding? We answer that. The parents, right? The parents of the bride. Then we look at the parents of the groom. Then we look at grandparents on both sides. Then we look at mentors, counselors, if you had those, some people who you trust in your life as couples who also have already been married, right? Who've been helping you along this journey this whole time. You can look at your church family, things like that, okay? Now, What happens if you have no parents, you have no grandparents? For whatever reason, they are not paying for this wedding. You can add any of the reasons that you want to in there. Like they passed away, they just said, no, we're not paying for this, we're not doing this, we have no money. Or we just don't care about weddings that much to do it, right? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do if your grandparents also say no? What are you going to do if the mentors also say no? What are you going to do if the church family says no? Remember, these are hard questions. It's a hard question to go and ask anybody. But if you've been preparing for it since age 14, it makes it a lot easier. Okay. Now listen, all these people could still say no. They could still say, we're not doing that. We're not helping you. That's not our problem. Like, you guys are the ones getting married. Figure it out. They could look at you in the face and say, well, we pay for our own wedding. Great. Okay. We all know that their wedding way back then, generations before you or generation before you, does not cost what weddings cost now. And the only reason why weddings cost so much now is because we are allowing them to cost so much. We're going to keep talking about this, you guys, because we are allowing this, and we've got to stop that problem as well. We've got to stop that problem. Okay, so who's going to pay then? You as the bride and groom are going to have to pay. I know. That's sad to hear. Nobody wants to hear that. It sucks. Weddings are a lot, and I think that's why a lot of people will opt to just elope at that point. Like, they just can't do it. They just can't afford it, and whoever is mad is mad. Like, then you should have helped them to pay. But it could come to that. It could come to that. What I don't suggest is that you go out and you get a slew of credit cards and try to pay off a wedding off of a credit cards. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's probably the worst thing that you could do for your wedding planning process, your wedding journey. This series is about you having an amazing wedding, but something that's affordable, something that still says you, and something that celebrates you as a couple, okay? This wedding is not about anybody else but the two of you, okay? Your parents are not going to tell you that, but your wedding is just about the two of you. I can't wait to share our wedding budget story, because you guys, it's a doozy. It's a doozy, okay? So, all right. Oh, what other wedding events in your wedding series that you would like? Remember, there's a slew of wedding events. It's dress shopping, engagement party, it's the wedding shower, bridal shower, bachelorette, hen do party. There's so many different parties. Rehearsal dinner, there's the welcome party, there's the party after the wedding if you're going to have one, like an after party. There's a brunch after the wedding day if you're going to have that. The send-off party for people to go. So, obviously, there's also the honeymoon. Huge wedding event, the honeymoon. So a lot of planners won't put that in there. Remember that. A lot of planners won't remind you about honeymoon cost. I did. So, because you can trust me. You can trust me. So, let's talk about those other events and the fact that because you got to know from your parents, grandparents, mentors, church family, doesn't mean that they can't pay for a different event in your wedding series. So while you have their attention on this day, right? Because we got to get to planning. We got to get to divvying out where the money is going, right? We got to get to getting on with this wedding. While you have their attention on this same day, go ahead and continue down the budget binder and mention those events that you would like to have, okay? You don't have to have every single event, but if there are events that you know that you've been waiting your whole life to have, that engagement party, that rehearsal dinner, those two stand out the most because it's the beginning and like pretty much close to the end to the wedding day itself. Ask them if they'd be willing to pay for one of those wedding events for your wedding series. This is all to tell your love story. All these wedding events help to shape your love story. It's a chance to get to learn the couple and understand the couple through their journey of their wedding, okay? Their wedding time. So make sure that you ask them, okay, well, are you willing to pay for one of these? And if they say yes, but that they want all control over planning every single thing, but that's not what you wanted. Now, if you're okay with them planning the whole thing and you're fine with that, then like let them run, let them do it. It's a wedding event. It's not the wedding day, right? But if you had themes in mind and particular people that you didn't want to come, maybe they want like everybody in your family to come and you're like, no, whatever it could be, that's up to you guys to keep talking, having those conversations about, okay, nope, that's not what we wanted. And so maybe you have to say, okay, we don't want you to pay for that. Now, if you are okay with them paying for it and you're okay with planning, or they want you to plan most of it and they just pay, don't take the money from them. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Don't directly take payment from that individual, whoever said that they wanted to pay for an event. And this is why. That money ends up just kind of maybe in a different place than what it could have gone to. Say for like if they wanted to make sure you had a content creator at every single event, right? Me, yay, you're a content creator. You guys know that that's what I do at weddings. Is I'm a content creator, making sure that your behind the scenes footage is very raw, real, candid, and in the moment, and you don't even know I'm there because it's a little cell phone and not those huge pieces of equipment everywhere in your face. You guys know what I do by now. So if they want to hire you a content creator for every wedding series event, let them. But make sure that you fit well with the personality of that person who's going to be capturing every single moment at every single event. You know, you don't want somebody that you don't get along with, someone who's a lot of drama, someone who maybe might be loud, somebody who might want to make it about them. You don't want that. Okay. You want someone who's professional. Okay. And who knows their stuff and who's going to give you back your content in no more than 48 hours. Okay. Edited stuff will get to you in 48 hours. Unedited raw content will get to you in 24 hours. And it's going to be photos, videos, or live stream of your event taken on a cell phone so that you can put it immediately onto your social media before everyone else does that was at that event. Also, everyone gets to remain hands-free, no cell phones in their hands, so that they can really live in the moment with you. So if they wanted to, if somebody wanted to be your sponsor for your content creator, oh my gosh, amazing, amazing. Don't say no to this. Allow them to do that for you, okay? Allow them to do that for you, but let them pay that vendor. Let them pay for that wedding event, okay? Don't take the money from them and then think, okay, I'm going to put it towards this, I'm going to put it towards that, because they're going to be really hurt if they show up to your wedding events and there's no content creator there, and they're like, well, where's the content creator that I hired for you? And she's not here. And like, that's going to be very, very awkward. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. So be sure that you take out the time to let them pay, give them all the information. If they want you to go research the person or the wedding event and the decor and all that good stuff and where you want to have it, if they want to let you plan out the wedding event or get your own vendor and they just pay, make sure that you go do that and then give them the information to go and pay for that thing, okay, for whatever it is. So we are at the best part of the episode. And any of you who did not join us in season 1 who don't know about this, welcome to season 2. This is the portion of our episode where we talk about the budget binder. Okay, so the budget binder is where we talk about who pays for this. Obviously, this episode, we've been talking about that the entire time because that's what this episode was all about. Specifically, was about the wedding budget. So it's a little different than some of the other episodes where we talk about whatever it is. And then at the end, we talk about who pays for it. But with this one, it's pretty obvious. Traditionally, it's the parents that are paying for the wedding itself, the ceremony and the reception day, okay? And then if they aren't going to be able to pay for it, we talked about other options of who is paying for it. So in your budget binder, you're just going to write down wedding day, ceremony, and reception, and then you're going to put down who it is that's going to be paying, okay? And then you're going to write down an amount. Right now, that's just kind of a rough draft amount, because we all know that by the time we get to the end of the wedding stuff, by the time we pay for the hair clips and the earrings and the jewelry and the shoes and all the little decoration bubbles, it's going to be a lot more than whatever you probably wrote on the original budget. But hopefully you don't go too far over that, okay? But right now we're just talking about the wedding day, reception, and ceremony. So more of like the venue side, the decor side for that specific portion of the wedding, okay? So in the food, catering, you know, all the things that go on the wedding day. So that's what we were talking about. That's what's going in your budget binder. You're just going to put down who it was and a rough draft of how much. Later on, we will fix that number and we will put down what was really spent for the wedding day, okay? We will go back and we will fix this. If you are engaged to be married, if you are a parent of the bride or a parent of the groom, and you guys had the budget talk or about to have the budget talk, how's it going? How did it go? I want to hear from you. I would love to hear your wedding budget story, okay? I would love to hear how it went. And if you are willing to share it, we can do a video call and then we can post it on here on the platform so that other couples can also get to hear your story. It'll help them with their journey. And we're just building a little, you know, little collection of love stories over here. Okay. So if you're comfortable with doing that, please send me an email at yourcontentcreator@yahoo.com and I will have you here on the platform with me. You guys, I know this was not an easy talk. It's the part of, I feel like any part of planning, this is always the part that's like, just like uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. It's something that I feel like most people skip, and that's why they end up in the place that they're in of paying for it all and feeling like they're drowning. And people will ask you along the way, like, how can I help? How can I help? But you don't always hear that from your parents. And I feel like they're the most people that can help you financially with your wedding day. Okay. You guys, I can't wait to share my wedding budget story with you. Like I said, it's a goodie. It's a goodie. It's one of the reasons why I am doing this wedding series and helping you to wedding plan, because I just want better. I want better for us as a people. Okay. I will see you lovebirds in the very, very next episode. Hope you've been enjoying it. See you soon. Bye, lovebirds.